Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Two Average Brown Bros podcast. I'm your host, Brashank.
And I'm your host, Andres.
And today is Monday, July 26, 2021. Andreas, what's up, man?
Well, a lot has happened since the last episode. I drove over 300,000 kilometers to get to Montreal, but finally we made it safe all the way over here in the East Coast. And other than that, everything is in French now, so gotta get used to that. But it was a pretty good week traveling uh, throughout the different provinces. It was a lot of fun. I actually didn't mind that it was a long drive. I actually did enjoy it. But yeah, that's what's up new with me. How are you, Bishang? How's life?
Yeah, as you know, we talked about it last episode. I'm currently in the Northern Virginia, DC area. I came here to visit my girlfriend for a couple of weeks, so came here last Sunday. It's already been a week. Time just flies by, so yeah, we'll get into all our fun week. But first, what'd you learn, Andreas? What'd you learn in the past week?
Well, something very funny that I learned as I was traveling, um, it is true that in Canada there is, when it comes to roads, there's winter season and construction season because man, there is construction everywhere, highways, roads in the city. There's just construction happening everywhere, and it's just like man, this is kind of crazy. But yeah, I want to say that's one of the main things that actually it is true that that when it comes to highways, there's only two seasons here in Canada. Other than that, another thing that I learned as I was driving through the Canadian Shield was what was the Canadian Shield and why is it called that way. So learned a lot about soil and learned about kind of like why, kind of like the different rocks that are in the Canadian Shield and everything of like kind of like geographically where it is and what it like provides to the country and all that. So it was a lot of learning as I was traveling. Just doing all of that. How about you? What did you learn this week?
So for me, I came to the DC area last Sunday, but then in the last 4 days, we did a mini trip down to Atlanta, Georgia, the home of the peaches. As Justin Bieber says, he gets his peaches from Georgia.
Yeah, and another thing from California.
Exactly. So yeah, we went down to Atlanta. It was a 3-day, 4-day trip. It was pretty fun. Atlanta is also the home of Coca-Cola, where it was first invented and made. So we did like a tour of the Coca-Cola not factory. It's more like a museum almost. It wasn't really like you couldn't see the Coke being built. It was more of the history behind Coca-Cola and the ingredients behind it. And at the end, there was a little taste test that we got to do. It was kind of weird because we were going in expecting that we'd taste different flavors of Coca-Cola, but it's more like different different almost like flavors or different kinds of soda that Coca-Cola produces. So like the Inca Cola or the one aperitif from Italy, which is very much like tonic water with sugar added, but kind of disappointing in the big picture because I think we all had like really cool expectations for it, but it was, I think, more catered towards like younger ages. But nonetheless, it was a fun time. And then, we went around the Atlanta itself. So the Centennial Olympic Park was really nice. Piedmont Park, a park in the middle of the city, similar to New York Central Park, is really nice. We scooted all along, as well as the Beltline. So Atlanta has, different various walking and biking paths all along the outer perimeter. And so we did pretty much scooting for like 2-3 hours along it. And lastly, you have to stop by the CNN headquarters. Although the studio itself was closed for visitors because of COVID, we did go on the outside and take pictures with the CNN sign. And while we were there, Kanye West was actually there because he was doing his upcoming album release. There was a listening party happening, and we found out that he also is staying at the Mercedes-Benz Arena where he wants to like finish his upcoming album until, I think the release is August 6th now, so he's staying at the Mercedes-Benz Arena until he releases the album, which is pretty interesting. But pretty much where Kanye is Kanye, right?
Yeah, Kanye does Kanye.
Exactly. So I guess that's the things, my recap of the last week. But on to the actual details of the last week. Tell us all about your drive to from Saskatchewan to the great province of Ontario, Andreas.
Well, it was a drive. It took 5 days to get over here. So definitely the longest drive overall that I've made in my entire life. But I would say when it comes to individual drives per day, they were not the longest drives I've done. One time I drove from Vancouver to Calgary in a day. That was a choice. But you know, along the drive, like you can really see the difference between the provinces and kind of like getting to enjoy the scenery. Between Saskatchewan and Manitoba, not a lot. You cannot like it's all mainly flat, and you get the crops, and you get like to see far far away. But then at nighttime, it was a complete travesty at nighttime. Okay, when I was once in Manitoba, like it was so fun, like it was raining, hardcore raining, and then on top of that there's like a section that it gets super foggy. When I say super foggy, man, it was like literally I could barely see the car in front of me. Like I want to say my visibility was 10 meters or less for 30-45 minutes of the drive, and it was foggy for at least, I want to say, an hour and a half of the drive. So mainly most of the Manitoba drive into Winnipeg, it was like that. So it wasn't fun. It was a bit scary because it was starting to get dark. Uh, and then drivers. Some people don't follow like light. What you need to do with your lights while you're driving in the highway. So some people with their high beams on, and like on the two, like a two-lane highway. It was an adventure. And then after that, one interesting thing that I got over up in Winnipeg is just like 20 minutes outside of Winnipeg. There is the actual center point, like the longitudinal. So, like from coast to coast, the longitudinal center point of Canada. So, of course, I went and had my photo prop there so it was pretty cool to know that I was in the middle of the country, and then that technically I've almost traveled the entire country. The only thing at this point that's missing is from Montreal to St. John's, at like to the easternmost point with things, but that's about it. So that was pretty cool. Then once I entered Ontario, like I could tell the difference in the scenery right away, getting into the Canadian Shield. So all forest, the highway from like most of part of it, is just like the hills are cut and you can see the rock formation. And it was just like pretty cool seeing like the different layers of different kinds of rock. That's just my nerdy side. And I was like, ooh, that's so many different sediments and all of that. And then with the drive, it was just pretty like Northern Ontario. Of course, I had to plan it well because towns are very far like apart from each other from time to time. So you make sure that you have gas in order to make it at least to the next town. But it was nice driving through the lakes. I made a couple of stops here and there. I was in no rush of like getting to my next point every day in like a time frame. Like I will Google what's to do between Winnipeg and Thunder Bay. So then I will just stop in several places. And when I say Northern Ontario is gorgeous, it is like such a like so much scenery, and it is just so pretty looking over Lake Superior. And on the way to Thunder Bay, we stopped over. I stopped at Kenora just to see the marina, and then at another little town. Just they had a suspension bridge, and then closer to Thunder Bay, there's the Kakabeka Falls, and those falls are just gorgeous. When people talk about Niagara Falls and all of that, they're like Niagara Falls is impressive, just based on the altitude and the amount of water that runs through Niagara Falls. But the Kakabeka Falls are just like the site itself is just beautiful. And part of it, like when you look to the other side, part of me reminded me of some of the scenery that you see in the movie Pocahontas, like that kind of like in the middle of the woods, the river flowing by. It kind of like felt like that. So it was pretty. And then Thunder Bay, I stepped over to the Terry Fox Memorial because they have a big statue of Terry Fox over at the entrance of Thunder Bay. And then from Thunder Bay, made my way to Sault Ste. Marie. In that drive, we stopped by the place from the person that apparently is who the Winnie the Pooh comes from, uh, and where he purchased the actual bird that he named Winnie. So there's an entire history about that. Then we stopped at Lake Superior. We had a little bit of a beach day, tiny little time, like a couple of like like an hour and a half. We stopped by the beach just to enjoy Lake Superior a little bit, and then we make our way to Sault Ste. Marie, and then from Sault Ste. Marie, we made it all the way to Ottawa. And at that point, I was just super tired. I'm just like, I'll visit Ottawa another day. I'm super close to Ottawa, anyways, and Bruchek is going to be there soon. So I'll make that an excuse to go visit Ottawa. And then on the fifth day, we made it all the way to Montreal, just a very short 2 hour drive from Ottawa. And yeah, that is that. When you once you enter Quebec, everything is in French. So I was just like, okay, we are really here, and let's start brushing off some of that French, so that I could understand, kind of like highway signage and all of that, just to know where I was heading. Yeah, we made it over here to Montreal. Haven't been up too much over here. Mainly unpacking, getting to know a little bit the neighborhood that I'm living in. Uh, I of course took Sherlock already to the dog park, which is like a 2 3 minute walk from my place. So just so that he can get used to and being less anxious and feeling more comfortable with the move, which I was pretty impressed. He was pretty good on the drive. I like usually Sherlock is very anxious on drive like car rides, but this time I think because he had his own bed, I think he just felt comfortable and he will either nap or I made sure that how I put the boxes in the car, he will have like a little peephole from the back seat into so he could see me driving. So from time to time, I'll just turn into a little pig, and Sherlock will be just staring at me driving, which was very cute. But other than that, he behaved pretty well. So there was no big major signs of him being anxious or stressed, and it was also a good excuse to have him because then I could make more pit stops along the way. So I could use excuse like, "Oh, Sherlock needs to stretch his legs." But that it was a long drive. It was like over 3,000 kilometers. Every day it was between, except for the last day, every day was between I would say 8 and 10 hours driving, including the pit stops. Uh, but honestly, I didn't mind it because it's a more interesting drive because you know there's hills, there's curves. You have to be paying more attention to the road compared to when I've driven, let's say, from Saskatoon to Calgary or from Saskatoon to Edmonton. It is just mainly flat, so you do get very bored in those highways because literally there's not much that like one to see, but also not much that is like grabbing or that you need to be paying attention to, even though you always need to be paying attention when you're driving, because it's mainly flat and there's not really that much change on the road itself. It kind of gets a little bit boring at times, but on this side, it was just there's just a lot more to see, and just the scenery itself is gorgeous. So yeah, it was fun, but I'm glad I'm done. I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it again. Actually, I didn't mind it at all. Maybe in the future I'll make shorter increments just to make it like a good, nice trip. But overall, good times driving through 4 Canadian provinces.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing adventure. Like I love road trips, so and I've always wanted to do the one from Saskatchewan to Ontario because that's one I haven't done. And I know some parts I have heard, like when it goes down, when the Trans Canada goes down to 2 lanes, it is scary with the trucks and lots of traffic. But hey, I'm glad to hear, and even I'm sure the listeners are here. Glad to hear that you made it safe and sound into Montreal. Over the next couple of weeks, you'll have to update us on more of your adventures in the new big city.
Oh, absolutely. We'll do that, trying to get settled over here. and just figuring out my life. Right now, the main thing is trying to get used to the French. I'm getting pretty good at reading it. Back again, it's getting pretty easy to read again. It's like becoming, it's been a good refresher. But the speaking is all right. I would say it's pretty choppy still, but the listening, that's the one that I'm think I'm gonna have the hardest time getting used to because I haven't heard French in forever, and French is like accents and intonations and everything. It's a lot plays into understanding French when you are listening to someone speak it. So we'll see how the French journey goes, Prashant. But I'll obviously keep everyone updated. I'm sure you can keep updated on my Instagram because everything is there, literally.
Absolutely.
So, Prashant, how has been? I know you told us at the beginning about your trip to Atlanta, which is amazing. I hope you got to experience the Georgia peach or something like that because, just for the sake of it. But tell us how is being in the States, with everything going on. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. How are things for you down there?
Yeah, so it's been interesting because in Saskatchewan, mask mandate ended July 11th, and I feel like a lot of people just stopped wearing their masks. Whereas I came down here, and a lot of people are like, not a lot. I would say, you know, a good 50-60% of the people are still wearing masks. Even down south, there's more people wearing masks than I originally thought, which is really good to see because the Delta variant is getting out of hand again, but it's mostly affecting the unvaccinated people, which they pretty much bring it onto themselves. But they've had multiple warnings, they've had lots of advisories to get the vaccine, but they still haven't. But that's a topic for another day. So
Mhm.
I flew to DC last Sunday, arrived here around 3 in the afternoon, just chilled for that day, and the next couple days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just worked from here. I hadn't seen my girlfriend in a super long time, so it was really nice to see her and her family, and then just work during the day and just explore DC. One of my favorite places to go in DC is called Gravelly Point. It's right by the Ronald Reagan International Airport in by main DC, and pretty much that's where all the planes. You can see planes directly landing above you, and it's a really cool place. Like every time I come to the area, that's my first visit because it's just a really nice place. As being a plane lover that I am. And then Thursday after work around 4, we flew down to Atlanta. I think we landed around 6:37 by the time we got there. And then we went to the hotel and just walked around Georgia, Atlanta. We went to a couple like restaurants. It was pretty cool because it's a different vibe down there. Atlanta, south of US, I guess, southern US, hospitality. The first stop we made was this cool little bar called Slush, where they give you drinks in a slushy form, and it's pretty good. We tried the crab lobster mac and cheese actually, and it
Ooh.
was really good. It was a little pricey on the pricey end, but it was totally worth it. And then we just walked around some more, and then around midnight we got super hungry again, and we found this 24/7 diner. And honestly, that was probably my favorite food all weekend because I got a lamb burrito and it was really good. Like I was surprised because it was a diner, but the food was really good.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, and then the next day, and then so me and my girlfriend, her friends also came along. So the next day we went around. So we woke up and then explored the Olympic Centennial Park as well as the World of Coca-Cola, which was pretty neat. Like I said earlier in the episode, it was kind of more or less over like underwhelming, but still pretty cool. It's something you should all do at least once in your life because it's still pretty cool to see like the history of Coca-Cola and the different kinds of Coca-Cola and all the Coca-Cola company. They are an umbrella for so many different brands of sodas and even drink like Minute Maid juice and things like that. So it's pretty cool to see how big they really are, and just different quirky things. Of course, I had to get a souvenir, so I ended up getting this jersey that said Coca-Cola, and it was pretty cool. I got it for $4, which is a steal because you don't get souvenirs for that cheap.
Yeah, I thought you got a shot glass like you usually do.
Yeah, I did. So there's a more deeper story for that. So I'll get to that. After Worlds of Coca-Cola, it started raining heavily. Like there was no rain in the forecast, but it did. So then eventually the rain kind of died down, and then we made it over to the CNN studio. It was pretty cool because you do see the big CNN sign. Although with COVID and all the political climate, they didn't have studio tours going on right now, but it's pretty cool because you could see some parts of the inside. And then the rest of the night, we just chilled around Atlanta, bar hopping, restaurant hopping. And then that was that night. And then the next day, we went over to Midtown, so where the TNT Studios is actually. So Turner Turner Media is pretty cool. You couldn't see the inside, but the outside was pretty cool because that's like where TNT, Cartoon Network, TBS, all those like shows are, developed and happening.
Mhm.
From there, we got one of those Lime scooters and pretty much went all over Midtown. And Midtown vibes of Atlanta was pretty cool because you see more of the cool houses and there's more people around there. It's just a more chill, relaxed vibe, along with Piedmont Park, which, like I said earlier, is similar to Central Park because it's in the middle. And we actually like came across this really cool like Caribbean festival where you needed to get wristbands to go in. However, we kind of snuck in and we got some food there. It was really good food. It was like barbecue chicken. It was really good. And as well as this chocolate pound cake, which we didn't have until the next day because we were so full with other food that we had. And then after the Piedmont Park, we scootered, along to the Pond City Market, which is really like this really cool market where we got more food. And then after that, we went to the Krog Street Market. Just like different. Atlanta is really known for its like art and like food. So along the way, different tunnels had like graffiti art, really cool. That I'll definitely be posting on my social media. And just overall chill, relaxed day. And then, yeah, that was the third day. And then towards the end, we tried to find like a rooftop bar, but some of them were close to COVID. Eventually, we did find this rooftop bar at the Reverb by the Hard Rock Cafe, I believe, and it's pretty cool because you could see the whole like Atlanta skyline as well as like the new Mercedes-Benz arena, which was really cool. Like that's probably one of the coolest arenas I've seen in person because just the shape of it is like very unique and it's so big and it was pretty cool. Got to see the Atlanta Hawks State Farm Arena as well. As a basketball fan, I really enjoyed going around that. And then, that night we found out that Kanye was staying at the Mercedes Benz Arena. So a couple of us, we just walked around the arena just to see if we could, see a glimpse of him because apparently he's staying at the arena for a couple more weeks until he finishes the album. So that was pretty cool. Just exploring Atlanta daytime and nighttime. Definitely miss traveling. Like I was, as I was saying over the weekend, that just a feeling of being in someplace new, getting up to just eating different foods and just roaming around the streets aimlessly. Like I really had missed that over the past 15, 16 months. So it was really nice to be able to do that again. Like I said earlier, the pandemic's still going on. So I was wearing a mask most of the time and, just being careful as much as we could. Even though we are vaccinated, it's not a bad idea to still wear a mask and be safe, right? Like fully protected, but you do what you gotta do. So at the time of recording, we flew back to DC in the morning of the Sunday, and it was pretty fun. Like I always, as much as I love Canada, I love coming to a US for various reasons. Number one being my girlfriend, of course, and then just number two, just traveling in the US is just so much fun because in Canada the cities are so like spread apart, but here you go to one city, you can go to the next city within a couple like 30 minutes and just the house layout. Like one of the coolest things we actually did was we walked to the birth home of Martin Luther King Jr., which was really cool because the street that it was on is like super antique. All the houses were like houses from back in the days. It was just a really cool place to go, and like you could still see where his house standing, where he was born, and it was really cool. Like I always imagine when I see things like that, historical things like that, like how life would have been back in the day, and just imagine different things and definitely really cool. And Atlanta, it's very diverse. Atlanta is definitely one of the more diverse southern cities, I would say. You saw people from all walks of the earth. Yeah, I definitely had a really fun time and lots to do still, but And then, so my story with the shot glass was, I, like you mentioned, I do love collecting shot glasses from different cities. I have over 30, 35 now. But Atlanta was weird because a lot of the things closed really early, even like Friday and Saturday. So like finding a souvenir shop was super hard. But then on Saturday night, as we were trying to find, a rooftop bar, we came across the Westin Hotel, and they actually had a gift shop. And lo and behold, I found a really cool shot glass. So at first I was getting worried because I thought I wouldn't find one, but I did end up finding a shot glass, and it's with me right now. So can't wait to add that to the collection.
Wow, that's amazing, man. I'm glad you can keep that going. Otherwise, you'll have to go back to Atlanta to get one.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I wouldn't mind coming out to Atlanta. It was a pretty cool city. Definitely different than some of the other cities because, I've been to a couple of the big cities throughout America, mostly in the western states and northeastern states. But Atlanta, I feel like when I first arrived, it was kind of underwhelming because I'm like, I saw the skyline, I'm like, that's it. But then as we explored a little bit more, the more of the local things, you could really see this, like, the Atlanta is known for its like food as well as the art scene, which like pretty much there was art and like murals pretty much everywhere you went, and it was done so nicely, so well, and had a lot of fun like taking photos with the murals and videos with the murals. So definitely gonna post that, but definitely need to visit Atlanta again.
That sounds like a lot of time. And yeah, some cities maybe they don't have the best architecture, like impressive architecture, but the life in the cities. And I think that's a very true for a lot of the southern states. The life in the city is what really makes it.
Exactly, and it was really nice. Like I said, just nice to be able to travel again. Of course, still the pandemic's going on, but being safe as much as we could and seeing what we could, I think we did pretty good.
That's amazing, man. And yeah, traveling, like, I don't know, it felt so good even just doing a road trip. And I don't know, it just like, it's one of those times that I just like when it came to the road trip, it was just me and of course Sharma, but me, like, it was just like, it's me driving. And I don't know, there was just like a sense of like you connect with yourself. And I don't know, I miss a lot of those reflective moments that you get when you're traveling from one place to another. Um, so definitely missed road trips and making this such big of a big one. And like honestly, I felt the thrill again of like, yes, this is why I like road trips. It just wants me to keep on exploring now the eastern side because the lakes, I will never stop talking about how gorgeous the lakes are uh, all throughout northern Ontario. I like driving from Ontario into Quebec. The lakes are gorgeous, so can't wait to start exploring a little bit more of that over on this side of the country.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, the thrill. One of the things I actually had missed, like we had slight turbulence on the way down to Atlanta, and of course, turbulence is scary, but being able to feel that again as we're flying through the clouds, it was definitely a thrill that I definitely missed. So, as as we all know, I love flying like airplanes and airports. Just being at the airport, and Atlanta is, I think, one of the number one busiest airport in the world with
Hmm.
regards to passenger volume. So just being at an airport that was super busy, it felt really nice. And even Regina Airport, like I was waiting for my flight in the Regina Airport when I first left home. Regina Airport, we pretty much completely shut down because of COVID. But I was talking to the gate lady, and she said they went from 2 flights a day to 6 flights a day, which for Regina is pretty, quite a lot. So as the pandemic slowly comes in, and flights will pick up, airports will get busier, and we'll finally get that feeling of being able to travel again.
Yeah, man, that's it. I can't wait to talk a lot more about traveling in our podcast. But I think time to start wrapping it up for Shane.
Absolutely, yeah. So I know we're both super busy with the move visit. So for this episode, we'll you know cut it short today, and move on to what we're looking for in the upcoming week. What are you doing besides moving fully in Montreal, Andreas?
For this week, what I'm looking forward is furnishing this apartment. um, you know, I do like the open concept of it and everything, but I'm excited to like just even go to IKEA. Today I went, and it was like I said, it was just chaos all the like all over the place. So can't wait to like go another time and actually take my time to decide what I want for the apartment, and then start slowly start settling in, visiting the city, uh, going to a couple of restaurants here and there. I mean, I do not have the pressure to instantly go and try everything in the city because I'm here for a while, so I got time to explore. But can't wait to like start figuring out like what my favorite coffee place are like close to my apartment will be, and where am I gonna work out. And we're so close to the La Chine Canal that just walking, I'm just excited to go out on walks. I mean, in Saskatoon, I could do it by the river, by the university. So I'm glad that I'm able to still have that sense of like nature in a certain way with the river and the canals over here in Montreal. So I'm looking forward to exploring the city, getting to know it a little bit more, as well as starting to make Montreal home now. How about you, Brichelle? What are you looking forward for this week?
Yeah, so I'll still be in the US for a couple more weeks. So I'll be looking forward to exploring this area more, and like always looking for those last minute flight deals to anywhere. If I My goal is if I can snag like a $90 flight to another city, I'll definitely do it. But if not, just explore this area more. Have fun with my girlfriend because I did miss her quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think just go with the flow because you know what? It's summer. It's really good weather. And just enjoy being in the States.
That's amazing, man, and I really hope you continue having a great time down there.
And you as well.
Alrighty, but that's it for this week's episode. We just wanted to give you all a little bit of an update of where we are at, what our lives are looking at, like how our lives are looking, now that we're making big changes in that, and yeah, just sharing a little bit of our recent trips. But other than that, that will be everything for this week's episode. Thank you so much, everyone, tuning in. And Brichelle, where they can reach us at.
Exactly. One thing before I reveal that in the next upcoming weeks, we will have a very special guest on our podcast. My girlfriend Agrima, she has agreed to speak to us. So hopefully next week she'll join us and talk to us, and it should be a good time. So keep an eye out for that episode. And if you have any comments, concerns, questions, crybaby stuff for me or Andreas or my girlfriend who will be on the podcast, let us know, and you can reach out to us on our Instagram page, which is the Two Average Brown Bros podcast page, and you can reach us on the Twitter page as well, similar handle, and or our personal pages as always. But that's it for this episode.
Exactly. Enjoy, everyone. Hope everyone has an amazing week, and that you get to continue enjoying the summer. Other than that, we'll catch you up next Monday. Bye.
See ya.